My girlfriend said, "He's moving in, it's not negotiable." I replied, "My exit isn't negotiable." Then I packed my life into a truck, removed myself from the lease, cut the utilities, and sat back as her ex, her landlord, and reality all showed her what not negotiable really meant. Welcome to AR Tales. I am 29, and until very recently I had a girlfriend named Bianca, 27. We had been together for a while and living together for 8 months in an apartment we split, at least on paper, 50-50. Last Monday, I was at the dentist. Mouth numb, half my face dead from Novocaine, scrolling my phone to pass the time. Bianca had been a little off for a few days. Lots of hushed phone calls, vague talk about people from her past, but I figured work stress or family drama. Then at 2:17 p.m., the text came. "Hey babe, quick heads up. Ramai is going through a rough patch and needs somewhere to crash for a few weeks. He's moving in tonight. I know this is sudden, but it's not negotiable. He's in a bad spot and I owe him this." Ramai, her ex, the guy she dated for 3 years before me, the one she told me was completely out of the picture. The one she had sworn was old news. I sat there in that waiting room, jaw numb, rereading the words "not negotiable" in the context of the apartment we had been sharing and paying for together. Sometimes it only takes one sentence to show you exactly where you rank in someone's life. My response was simple. "No problem, Bianca," she replied almost instantly. "Really? Wow, thanks babe, I knew you'd understand. He'll be on the couch, won't be in the way," I answered. "All good, handle it however you need to." "You're the best," she wrote with 2 heart emojis. Here is what Bianca seemed to forget. Our lease was month to month. Either of us could give 30 days notice to the landlord to remove ourselves. And the security deposit, $2,400, had been paid entirely by me. She could not afford her half when we moved in. She promised to pay me back. She never did. So she had just declared a new roommate non-negotiable in a space I paid to secure and we both paid to occupy. I left the dentist and went straight back to work. I did not blow up her phone. I did not start a fight. We texted a little about dinner like nothing was wrong. On the outside, I stayed calm. On the inside, gears were turning. My first call was to my buddy Jerome. I asked if I could crash at his place for a few nights. He had a spare room. He said yes, no questions asked. My second call was to our landlord, Mr. Anderson. I told him I needed to remove myself from the lease as soon as possible due to a personal situation at home. He said the standard requirement was 30 days notice. I asked about the clause for domestic situations where one party needed immediate separation. He said it could be expedited if both parties agreed, but even without that, my written notice would start the clock legally. My third call was to my cousin, who owns a small moving company. I asked if he had a truck open that evening. He did. I went home at 5. Bianca was not there yet. Perfect. I started packing. Not throwing things into boxes in anger, not flipping furniture. Just moving through the apartment room by room, choosing what was mine. My clothes, my electronics, my kitchen gear. I had bought most of it anyway. My furniture, the good couch, the television, my desk, my chair. I left her futon, the one she had brought from her old place. I left her decorations, her wall art, the small things she had bought that felt like hers. By 7, everything of mine was in the truck. The apartment looked sparse but still livable. She still had a bed, a futon, dishes, bathroom stuff. It was not an empty shell, just a stripped-down version of our life. Then I sat at the kitchen counter and wrote a letter. "Bianca, you said Ramai moving in wasn't negotiable. I respect that. You've made your choice about what you need. I've made mine. I've moved out and started the process of removing myself from the lease. Mr. Anderson has your contact information for any changes. The full rent, $1,850, is due on the 1st. The security deposit was paid entirely by me, so it will be returned to me when the lease ends. Best of luck with everything. P.S. The utilities are in my name. I'll be canceling them tomorrow at noon. You will need to set up new accounts if you want to keep service." I left my key on the counter next to the letter. I took photos of every room, documenting the condition of the apartment. Clean. No damage. Then I emailed the photos to Mr. Anderson with a short note confirming my move out and listing Bianca as the sole contact for the lease going forward. After that, I left. I got to Jerome's place around 8, turned off my phone, opened a beer, sat on his couch in his spare room and let the reality sink in. Sometimes freedom is not a big dramatic exit. It is a quiet decision followed by steady action. The next morning, I turned my phone back on. 63 texts, 19 missed calls, several voicemails. The first wave of messages had started around 9 the night before, right after she got home. What the hell? Where are you? This isn't funny. You took the TV. Call me now. Then, how could you do this? Ramai is here and there is nowhere for him to sleep properly. You're being so immature. The voicemails followed the usual pattern: confusion, anger, tears, rage, repeat. At 3 in the morning, one said, "You need to grow up and come home. We can talk about this." At 6, another, the landlord, called. "What did you tell him? You can't just leave me with the full rent." At 8, a text. "The power company says the account is scheduled for disconnection. You wouldn't." At noon, she found out I would. The power was cut. When people who are used to you carrying the weight suddenly feel the weight alone, they often call that cruelty. That was when she switched tactics and pulled in backup. Her best friend Carly texted, "What kind of man abandons his girlfriend because she's helping a friend in need?" Her sister Dahlia wrote, "Bianca is crying. How can you be so heartless? Ramai is practically homeless." Then a number I did not know. "Hey man, this is Ramai. I don't know what your problem is, but Bianca is really upset. Be a man and come sort this out." Her ex, the one she invited in, calling me from my former home to tell me to be a man. I responded to exactly one person. "Bianca, you said it wasn't negotiable." I agreed. My decision to leave isn't negotiable either. Direct all apartment concerns to Mr. Anderson. Then I blocked her. I blocked Carly. I blocked Dahlia. I blocked Ramai, all at once. This was the moment I stopped trying to reason with people who had no respect for my side of the story. That evening, Mr. Anderson called. "I have Miss Rivera here," he said, using Bianca's last name. "She says you abandoned her without notice and that she can't take over the full rent. She wants to keep it split." "I gave you notice yesterday," I said. "You have the email and photos." "She told me her ex was moving in and that it wasn't negotiable. I chose to leave." He paused. "I see. Well, if she can't take over the lease alone and you have removed yourself, I will need to start the eviction process. The rent is due in 5 days." "I understand," I said. "That is between you and her now." Later, Jerome told me what he had heard through his girlfriend, who is friends with Carly. Bianca was scrambling. Ramai was unemployed, had been couch surfing for 2 months. Not only could he not help with rent, he was eating her food and using her streaming accounts all day. She tried to get him to leave so I would come back. He refused. She had already told everyone how generous she was for helping him. She could not back out without looking bad. The first of the month came. Bianca tried to pay half the rent, $9.25. Mr. Anderson refused it. He needed the full amount. On the 2nd, I got an email from a new address she had made just to reach me. Subject line, "Please. I can't afford this place alone. You know that. I don't understand how you can be so cruel. Ramai is leaving tomorrow, but the damage is done. I need you to come back and at least help with this month's rent. I'll pay you back. Please don't do this to me." I did not respond. Sometimes silence is the only answer when someone is asking you to rescue them from a fire they started. On the 3rd, she took a new route. She showed up at my workplace. Security called my desk and said, "Your wife is here for a lunch date." "I am not married," I said. "Please escort her out." She made a scene in the lobby, yelling about how I owed her money, how I had ruined her life. Security had to physically walk her outside. That evening, Jerome showed me her social media. She had posted a long caption about being abandoned by someone she thought loved her and being on the verge of homelessness because of a vindictive ex. The comments were full of people calling me trash, saying she deserved better, praising her for being so strong. I do not even have an account there. I would not have known if Jerome had not shown me. Then she did something worse than online drama. She called my mother. My mother is a sweet, anxious woman who worries about everything. Bianca told her I had abandoned her after she lost her job. That she was pregnant. That I had left her for another woman. All lies. My mom called me in tears. It took an hour to calm her down and explain what really happened. I sent her a screenshot of Bianca's original text about Ramai moving in and it being not negotiable. My mom went from crying to angry very quickly. She called Bianca back and, in her words, gave her a piece of my mind about lying to a mother. Do not underestimate how protective a parent becomes when someone tries to use them as a pawn. On the 4th, Bianca found my new address. She probably followed me from work. She showed up at Jerome's place with Ramai. Ramai. Jerome answered the door. I stayed in the living room, but I could hear everything. I need to talk to him, Bianca said. This is insane. He does not want to talk to you, Jerome said. Please leave. Listen, bro, Ramai cut in. We're all adults here. Your boy needs to handle his responsibilities. My boy's responsibilities, Jerome said calmly, do not include subsidizing his girlfriend and her ex in the same apartment. You're living in what was his place rent-free and you want to talk about responsibilities. I'll call the cops, Bianca said. He stole my furniture. He took what he bought, Jerome said. I helped him move it. Everything he took was his. Call whoever you want. They did not call the police. They left after more yelling, more threats about making sure everyone knew what kind of man I was. On the 5th, Mr. Anderson called again. The eviction papers have been filed, he said. She has 30 days to move out. She tried to negotiate, offered to find a new roommate, but without someone signed on immediately, I cannot wait. That evening, I got another email from Ramai's address, but it was clearly written by Bianca. You've made your point. I shouldn't have said it wasn't negotiable. I should have talked to you about Ramai staying first, but this has gone too far. I'm going to be evicted. Is that what you wanted, to see me on the street? Please, I'm begging you, come back and we can work this out, I replied to this one. Bianca, you made a unilateral decision about our living situation. I made one too. The difference is that mine was about my own life, not yours. You chose to prioritize your ex over our relationship. That was your right. The consequences are yours to handle. Stop contacting me. Stop contacting my family. Stop coming to my workplace. Any further harassment will be met with a restraining order. The apartment is between you and Mr. Anderson now. Then I set up my email so that anything from her or Ramai went to a separate folder, just in case I needed it later. When someone shows you that your voice does not matter in shared decisions, the most powerful thing you can do is remove your voice from their world completely. Over the next 3 weeks, her entitlement did not go away. It just changed shape. First, she tried the legal route. She hired a lawyer with what money I have no idea and had a demand letter sent to me. It claimed I had constructively evicted her by removing myself from the lease without proper notice and demanded that I pay 3 months of rent as damages. I forwarded it to my uncle, who happens to be a lawyer. He read it and laughed. Then he wrote back a short response. In simple terms, he said I had given proper notice, followed the lease rules, and that Bianca's choice to move her ex-boyfriend into the shared apartment did not create any legal responsibility on my part to continue paying for it. That was the end of the legal threat. Then came the smear campaign, round 2. She started messaging my extended family on social media. Aunts, uncles, cousins I had not spoken to in months. She told them I had left her stranded and homeless, that I refused to help, that I was cruel. Most of them ignored her. One aunt, Rita, called me to check in. I told her the full story. I explained the not negotiable text. I explained Ramai moving in. I explained my choice to leave instead of fighting. My aunt was quiet for a second, then said, So she thought she could have both of you in the same place and keep you paying for it. That girl needs therapy, not sympathy. Sometimes outside people see the pattern more clearly than you do when you are inside it. Meanwhile, the eviction moved forward. Bianca managed to delay it by a week by claiming hardship, but in the end, she had to move out. Here is the part that would almost be sad if it was not so predictable. Ramai left as soon as the eviction was final. Once there was no longer an apartment for him to live in, he discovered other options, other couches, other friends. He left her to pack and move alone. She tried to call me crying about it. The call went straight to voicemail, which I deleted without listening. Last week I ran into Carly at a coffee shop. She saw me at the counter. There was no way for either of us to pretend we had not seen each other. "Hope you're happy," she said, cold. "I am," I said. "You?" "She's living with her parents now," Carly said. "You destroyed her life." "That is unfortunate," I said, "but she made a choice. Every adult gets to do that." "She loved you," Carly said. "She was just trying to help someone." "She made a decision about our shared home without me," I said. "She brought her ex into it and told me that my feelings were not negotiable." "I chose not to fund that decision." Carly crossed her arms. "You are so jealous. She is telling everyone you were abusive and that you controlled her money." "The same everyone who knows she could not afford the security deposit?" I asked. "The same people who know I paid for most of our dates because she was always broke. Good luck selling that story." She did not answer. She just turned and walked away. Yesterday, I got one final email from Bianca from a new address. "I know you hate me now, I get it. I messed up. Ramai was a mistake. Moving him in was a mistake. Saying it wasn't negotiable was a mistake. I've lost everything. My apartment, my relationship, my dignity. My parents are disappointed. I have to start over completely. I just wanted you to know that I learned my lesson. You don't owe me anything. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, really sorry, not for sympathy, just because you deserve an apology. I hope you find someone who treats you better than I did." I did not respond. Sometimes closure is not a conversation. It is the decision not to open a door again. As for me, I am good. Better than good. I found a small studio apartment. It is not as big as the old place, but it is mine. No surprise roommates. No one declaring changes to my life that I am not allowed to discuss. Jerome and I are closer friends now. He told me watching me handle this calmly taught him a lot about self-respect and boundaries. His girlfriend apparently uses me as an example when she talks to her friends about not putting up with nonsense. My mom still texts me randomly, saying things like, "Proud of you for standing up for yourself." She may also have told most of the family about that lying girl who tried to trap my son. So Bianca is now a cautionary story at family gatherings. Mr. Anderson inspected the apartment and returned my full security deposit. $2,400, straight into my savings. I am planning a solo trip at some point. No drama. No negotiations about who can stay where. When someone tells you that a major change to your shared life is not negotiable, they are telling you exactly how much your voice matters to them. Believe them. And remember that your response does not have to be negotiable either. She wanted to play the not negotiable card. I just chose to play mine in a way that protected my peace. Lessons from this story. Lesson 1. When a partner makes a major decision about your shared home without your input, they are showing you how little they value your voice. Lesson 2. Helping an ex is not automatically wrong, but hiding it and forcing it on your current partner is a sign of broken boundaries. Lesson 3. You are not responsible for rescuing someone from consequences they created by ignoring your limits. Lesson 4. Smear campaigns and lies do not change the truth. Calm documentation and firm boundaries protect you better than shouting back. Lesson 5. Walking away from a bad situation early often costs less than staying and trying to fix someone who refuses to listen. Lesson 6. Your home should be a place where you feel safe and respected, not a space you share with someone who treats you as an afterthought. What would you have done the moment you got that not negotiable text in the dentist's office? Have you ever had to walk away when someone tried to make a one-sided decision about your shared life?